Hey guys, it's your girl Shamar. Welcome back to the front line. Thank you guys for coming back this week. I hope everybody's week went well. Mine, oh my gosh, guys. My phone's jacked up. It's bleeding all inside. I can't even hardly see, but we're going to make this work. You know what I mean? We're just going to make this work. And I feel like I've had writer's block today, or like I'm just in too many subjects. I'm trying to fine tooth, fine tune a subject for you guys. You know what I mean? Because as of late, I feel like just so much has been coming out that while I'm building other folders and eager to talk about that, I want to take my time just a little bit and just keep gathering more information. So what am I working on? I'm actually working on, I feel like I see a link. I told y'all a few weeks ago that I didn't want to talk about it quite yet, but just to give you an idea, because a lot of my time is just spent researching different avenues. I've been seeing, I feel like, a connection between the oil inside of the earth and our bodies as elements. You know what I mean? So I was researching some stuff concerning that and the petrodollar, researching some things as it pertains to our three righteous men, because I do want to revisit that, and that concerns Noah, and that word husbandman, which, guys, that word has been bothering me. The reason being because if you break the word husband up, you get house, bonder, or bondee, owner, right? So if we break up the word husbandman, you get house, bondman. Okay, oh, it sounds like a house slave to me, y'all. I don't really know what that's telling us, so I got to dig a little more. And the only way for me to do that is to, in my opinion, go back to some of our righteous men, which we know who those righteous men are. You know what I mean? Sorry, I opened up Genesis. It's not the one. It's in Ezekiel, guys. Yeah, right here. We know who our righteous men are. They're Noah, Daniel, and Job. Okay, so I want to revisit them. I'm working on something with that for you guys. Also working on this thing with the patriarchy concerning Abraham. I just got a lot going, but today, guys, while we're still talking about, or while we're on the heels of having talked about uh, how Father Abraham got put in his place, okay, while he's running around and supporting the patriarchy, so it seems to me. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I want us to focus this week on the role of chief. Look at me, can't even spell, guys. The role of chief, right? Let's go to it. All right, well, they got chief as an adjective, a noun, and a verb, right? Preeminently, above all, in first place. Okay, look at all of the words associated with chief. Kaput, meaning the head, chieftain, archangel, imperator, absolute ruler. You know what I mean? Like, remember I told you Ezer sounds like Caesar, guys, to me. All right, so it's like this role of the woman that they've wanted to take over and redirect for her behind. So you'll see that word chef associated with chief later on. But this is a funny thing right here that I want to read real quick about the etymology of this word. All right, now remember, guys, my phone's cracked, so I got a little bleeding in my phone. Don't worry, I'm gonna get another. I'm just haven't had the time, guys. You know what I mean? Um, Highest rank or power, most important or prominent, supreme, best, placed above the rest. Didn't we see that with Abraham? Wasn't she placed above Abraham? Yes, she was. From the old French chief principal. Um, from the Portuguese cap, so that's why we'll see that word kaput, all right, which would mean the head, all right, leader, guide, chief, person, summit, capital city. All right, so now let's go down to chief for noun, right? I got to scroll up and down a little bit so I can get past the bleeding. All right, guys, in my phone. All right, so in 1300s, they're going to say that the chief is a head, leader, captain, the principal or most important part of anything. Chief leader of something, capital city. All right, so they're going to say kaput, once again, the head, leader, chief, person, summit, or capital city. The meaning head of a clan. All right, this is important, guys. Head of a clan is attested. From 1570. It was later. This is important, guys. I want y'all to pay real good attention to this sentence right here. This is what we're here for, okay, guys? It was later extended to headmen of Native American tribes. All right? William Penn in 1680 called them kings. Didn't Shamar show you guys last week that when you guys stop being husbandmen, right? That you guys begin to engage in a religious service that made you the master of your homes, but that in America, that wasn't the case before. That you were a husbandman, but now you went to being a king. Didn't Shamar tell y'all that there was an edict that went out that allowed you to be king? That edict came under Xerxes. So today we're going to back up everything I say on this front line when I tell y'all how this thing went. All right, it's going to be brief. I won't keep y'all too long, I promise y'all. But what did this thing say? The meaning of the head of a clan is attested from 1570, but was later extended to headmen of Native American tribes. William Penn called them kings later, commander-in-chief. Okay? You think Shamar making it up now? Huh? You think I'm making it up now, guys? That this word was to belong to SARA, and there was a reason why. Right, guys? Now, I told y'all a long time ago, right? I want to get into this Native American story here. Show you how things flipped a little bit. Maybe y'all never heard of this lady. Her name is Lady Tikal. All right? Born in 504 AD, Lady of Tikal was the daughter of King Jaguar Paul II, Choctaw Itchok II, the 18th ruler of Tikal. Right? Sound like Method Man, Tikal. Following her father's death, Lady of Tikal became queen. All right? Queen. They're going to start using this word, all right, following on the heels of the kings. You're going to see the word queen at the unorthodoxly young age of 6, right? Following a breakdown in the male line of succession at the beginning of the century, right? Because the males before this were calling themselves chiefs of other nations. The males were calling themselves what? Gods, kings. When you look at Abimelech, Abimelech is just a title. The father is king, or the father is God, something to that effect. So we already saw that in the past that there were nations that were under a patriarchal rule, a patriarchal system, but Israel was not one of them. Israel was not supposed to be one of them. Everybody in Israel was equal, and had different jobs to perform. All right, so let's read along. Following her father's death, she became queen at 6. We read that already. All right, so let's go down. Her life is chronicled in Stelae 6, 12, and 2. The stelae are stone monuments, all right, carved stone, carved by hand, right, found throughout the Mayan Empire. What did I tell y'all that Mayan was? A Hebrew word meaning a stream, right, guys? All right, so these are monuments made out of stone, all right, in which hieroglyphal texts and images are sculpted. However, due to damage to these, the stele. Relatively little is known about this Mayan queen. I wonder why they damaged it, right? Or how it got damaged. Anyway, what we know, however, is that Lady of Tikal ruled for over 16 years and is believed to have shared her responsibilities as queen with Kalamat Balaam, who was also known as Curlhead. So Balaam, huh? Remember, we heard that name before, guys, when the Baal of Peor incident took place. Uh, the king tried to hire someone with the name Balaam. So don't y'all find this odd that we go from one, Mayan being a Hebrew word, all right, meaning stream, and also the association to the word Balaam. Both of these are found in our Torah, guys. All right, so let's keep going. And we know the word Mayan is associated because I've shown you guys this already. The relationship, we're down here, between the Lady of Tikal and Curlhead is unclear. Now, I want y'all to hold on to the flow of this story, all right? Because I see a pattern here in our Torah that reminds me of this story, all right? But the names will change, the location will change, the people and the faces will change, but the story is going to be very similar to y'all, and I want to see if y'all catch this as well. So check this out. So let's go back up. The relationship between the Lady of Tikal and Curlhead is unclear. While some historians claim he was her husband, others believe him to be her son or another male member of her family. All right, so hold on to that. All right, I'm proposing, all right, something here that this is definitely a Hebrew story, but flipped on its head. All right, so they propose that Balaam is related to her somehow, or Balaam is in fact a family member or a husband, right? It says, irrespective of their relationship, the two rulers shared their responsibilities as leaders. The queen performed the key calendrical ceremonies, whereas Kalamet Balaam was the dedicatee of the stele. Once again, due to the damaged stele in which the Lady of Tikal is mentioned, historians are unable to precisely date the end of her rule and death, but it's often placed between 527 and 534 AD. I want to check that out and see if that's the time that they have Esther being in place, but I might have to do that in another episode for y'all. Oh dang, I done gave away who I was trying to get y'all to place in your mind with this. Dang, I done gave it away. But anyway, y'all I'm gonna read the story of Esther anyway to see if y'all catch this flow. All right. In spite of the relatively scant details of her life, Lady of Tikal's rule is nonetheless important for what it reveals about the relativity of female rule. Namely that though women often lacked agency relative to men, gendered leadership roles could and did defy expectations. All right. Yeah. So Lady Tikal ruled along with somebody in her family who went by the name of Balaam. And apparently they had this shared responsibility and she was made queen. Why does this story sound familiar to me, guys? Let's go have a look at some things. All right, let's go to Esther 2 for a second. And you tell me, is Shamar bugging? All right. I want to go down to... I want y'all all to go ahead and read this story on your own. Shamar don't have time today. The screen's all jacked up. And y'all probably don't have the time and should do this anyway. Go back and read Esther 2. Remember I told you there's weird association with trees and the ladies of Israel. So Esther is originally named Edessa, or some versions will have her as Hadassah. I got the Douye Reams open. Y'all know how we roll over here. And Edessa means myrtle tree, right? Then she becomes Esther, right? Which some people associate to Ishtar. I personally associate it to secret, a word that means a secret. So I feel like Esther was she was an infiltrator for this for King Xerxes. All right, Mordecai trained this girl up. Y'all can go back and look at Esther and the patriarchy and see what I'm talking about, because I already covered Esther extensively. But I want to show y'all how these two stories parallel. And is this the same story is what I'm asking you guys. All right. Either way, you're going to see a shift that goes from the way we used to do things to a new manner of things. And you're also going to see a conspiring story taking place, right? Which is not what the creator had in mind. All right, we were honest people. We didn't use tactics like this. This is an example of Judah, all right, using espionage, honeypot harem tactics. All right, they sent in a honeypot up under Xerxes' nose. This got them out of Babylonian captivity and sent back home. Some of them stayed, some of them didn't. All right? Point blank, this is how Judah got back, by some nasty stuff like this. Esther dropped it like it was hot, like I told y'all. Anyway, read this story for yourself, all right? Esther's going to find favor with the king. Esther's going to become the queen, all right? It says here that I like this right here in 19. I like this. And another reason why y'all need to check out Esther is because I've told y'all before we were not marrying like them. But you're only going to see references to a wedding and marriage, all right, in this book. And I think it was like Song of Songs or something, or it's another, or maybe in Psalms, a brief reference to a marriage. And the only other place you're going to see that is where, y'all? The New Testament. When JC's doing what? Making wine out of the water. Okay, guys, that's all I'm going to say on that. But we definitely were not getting married the way we do now, right? All right, where the woman is taking the man's last name and things like this, and we're getting married at an altar, guys. We should have been alarmed when that was taking place. All right, but anyway, we're Israel. We don't do like the other nations. So hear what Esther was doing in 19, all right? And when the virgins were sought the second time and gathered together, Mordecai stayed at the king's gate. Neither had Esther as yet declared her country and people, according to his commandment. For whatsoever he commanded, Esther observed, and she did all things in the same manner as she was wont at that time when he brought her up a little one. She did things according to what Mordecai wanted her to do. Mordecai was a follower of Marduk, guys. So let's keep going, because at some point, Mordecai miraculously hears some sort of conspiracy, lets the king know, and gets the king's ring. And this is how he declares that all men are king in their home. Now watch this. And remember what we read about the chiefs, that didn't happen until like late 16 something, where this man now goes from calling them the heads of the clans to now kings. All right, watch this. Watch the association, right, guys? Pay attention to the moving pieces. At that time, therefore, when Mordecai abode at the king's gate, Bagathan and Theres, two of the king's eunuchs, who were porters and presided in the first entry of the palace, were angry, and they designed to rise up against the king and kill him. And Mordecai had notice of it, and immediately he told it to Queen Esther, and she to the king in Mordecai's name, who had reported the thing unto her. It was inquired into and found out, and they were hanged on a gibbet, and it was put in the histories and recorded in the chronicles before the king. Yeah, Mordecai, after that, let me see if I can take y'all real quick to that. He's given a ring. He is given a ring. After these things, King Ahasuerus advanced. This is going to tell how he advanced another guy instead of Mordecai. But Mordecai didn't show this guy respect. So now they got to deal with that. But Mordecai at some point gets, look, let's read it right here. Let's read it right here, number 12. And the king's scribes were called in the first month of Nisan. The first month of Nisan, on the 13th day of the same month, and they wrote, as Amon had commanded all the king's lieutenants, and to the judges of the province, and the divers of nations, as every nation could read and hear according to their different languages, in the name of King Ahasuerus. And the letters sealed with his ring were sent by the king's messengers to all province to kill and destroy all the Jews, right? His ring had the ability to send out a province worldwide, guys, whoever this king was, right? Because later we see the king give this ring. The king gives this ring to Mordecai. Let me see if I can find it for y'all, because then Mordecai issues a decree where all the men are going to be kings in their homes. Okay. Let's say that comes a little later on. Let's see. I want to find it because I don't want to tell y'all this, and then you guys don't get to see this. Okay, this is the guy plotting right here. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm usually a little more put together than this. My true people that are with me, my flock, they'll hang out for this. Mordecai is honored. Let's see. I want to give it to you. I want to give this one to y'all for real. I want to show y'all where he gives the ring to Mordecai, because this ring allows an edict to go worldwide. Okay. Let me see, because he puts somebody on his horse. It's a whole story here, guys. But y'all know how I feel about this book of Esther, right? That it's written by Judah, so you know what I mean. I just don't. Haman is hanged. Let's see. It must be the next chapter where Mordecai is actually given this ring. Mordecai is advanced. The house of Ammon. Okay, so now Esther tells him that they are related. All right, this is where it goes. And the king took the ring which he had commanded be taken again from Ammon, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over her house. So if Esther is queen, and Esther has set this man over her house, doesn't this sound like that other story, guys? They have a picture of when that transpired with Lady Tikal, and I was trying to find it, of her being crushed by Balaam. All right? Let's finish reading. He fell down at the king's feet and wept, blah, blah, blah. Here we go, Xerxes' decree. Now remember, Mordecai has that ring. Now check this out. King Xerxes answered Esther the queen, Mordecai the Jew, and had given Amon's house to Esther, and commanded him to be hanged, right? Write ye therefore the Jews in the king's name, seal it with the ring, right? And the letter with my ring. For that was the custom that no man does. They had to use the ring to seal letters, all right, sent in the king's name. And it would have to be sealed with the king's ring. The king's scribes and secretaries were called, for it was the time of the 3rd month, which is called Sivan, and the 3 and the 20th days. Letters were written from Mordecai, sent to the provinces, even to Ethiopia, is going to tell you. So this king had rulership over all of these territories. All right, guys? Because I show y'all that the paterfamilias goes into effect in Rome. So was that gone into effect from Rome because of Xerxes? Is Xerxes Rome? I don't know right now, y'all. I'm just showing y'all that this went out worldwide, and we can see evidence of it. Thanks to the, my voice cracked. Thanks to the paterfamilias, right? Yeah, so you guys got to just read, y'all just got to read this whole book. And you're going to see what I'm trying to tell y'all, which is this this pattern of familiarity with these stories, right, guys? And now, remember when we went into the etymology, it told you that there were that the men became the heads of the clans in America later on. So if they're going to tell you that they become the heads, who was the heads before that, right? Who were the heads that came unto Joshua? Why is it that when the Torah tells you to observe the Sabbath, right? If the husband is in fact the head of the family, right? When we are commanded to observe the Sabbath, it says something to the term of you are to rest. Whoever the Creator is talking to in that moment, you are to rest. Your sons, your daughters, your bondmen, your bondservants. Why don't we hear your wife in there? If uh, if if you are the head, sir, why doesn't that commandment go you, your wife, your sons, your daughters, your bondmen, and your bondservants? Why doesn't it say that? I'll tell you why. Because there was an equality. All right. I answer to my mama. You answer to your daddy. I guess that's why the Mayans had something they referred to as the. They recognized that there was a female principal and a male principal, a mama and a father. They call some people would refer to it as the maize god, and some people would refer to the female god as the moon god. I don't understand why they did that. I'm not here calling mama and daddy that. Oh, right, guys. I'm just telling you that there was this pattern that was shown, right? So if we bring it back home, because yes, the Torah is our history, but we are also indigenous, guys. So if we bring it back home, then we know these stories refer to us, right? You're going to see stories right here about a woman chief, two-spirit warrior. Um, this is going to show you that there was a pattern. There was a history of women chief, right, guys? Look, this guy look black right here. It says that he is, sorry, or so-called black, right? You know what I mean. There are no known photographs of women chief. Above is an illustration. I'm reading right here, guys. Sorry, it won't let me highlight. Is an illustration of her from a 1860 autobiography of James Beckworth, a black mountain man who lived with the Crow in the 1820s and 30s. He claimed to have known woman chief. He wrote she was called Pine Leaf. Did not tell y'all there was association with the women and the trees, right, guys? So we see this now in some of the native stories, right, guys? So do you see the parallels? Let's keep going. It says Pine Leaf then, and she was called Pine Leaf and was a great young warrior woman who first gained renown in her teens for bravery. Fighting the Blackfeet, she vowed to kill 100 enemies before she would marry. Eventually, she would get married to 4 wives, it says. I don't know how true that is. She would become a renowned warrior as well as a leading chief of 160 lodges and later a successful peace negotiator. There were other renowned, what? There were what? Other renowned women warriors and leaders among the Crow. They said that they showed characteristics of behaviors of the opposite sex. They call that two spirits. Some young women who wanted to be warriors dressed as men. We know certain spaces in the Torah tell us not to do that. I need to check, where those verses are. So I'm not, let me be clear, I'm not endorsing what we're reading. All right, guys, it's all new to me too. However, I am showing you that there are definitely parallel stories in other cultures we claim to be a part of, right? Both the Torah and both the indigenous stories. We just saw last week, Israel is formed from SARA. She's the chief. And Abraham is to call her chief, guys. A new thing is going to be done in this earth, guys. A woman is going to compass a man. I look at a compass as a guide, right, guys? And check this out. Native warrior women. Indian women have always been written out of his story, right, guys? That's why I call it her story. When I feature the women of Israel, right, guys, I call it her story. All right, it's time that the matriarchy gets some notoriety. All right, we done heard all about his story. It's enough already. Thank you to the scribes of his story. You done a good job. You beat us over the head enough with it. Let's keep going. Let's hear about her story. But their bravery is being rediscovered in archives and native oral traditions. We all know the immortal names of Pocahontas and Sacagawea, Native women who played important roles in the formation of our early nation. Sound a little bit, their stories sound a lot. If we look at the story itself, don't they sound a lot like Esther or Ruth or any one of them marrying a man of another nation? All right, guys, it's the same old, same old. You know, they tried to tell you that prostitution was the oldest profession, and that we found out that that's a lie. A husbandman is the oldest profession. But what we see is that in the oldest stories, they use that honeypot harem stuff, guys. In some of their older stories with these women, and we see it repeat itself. All right, so let's keep going. Native women played important roles in the formation of early nations, right? But very few Americans know the names of the many Native female warriors who fought and sometimes died alongside their male brethren. There was that symbiosis that I'm talking about, guys. Fought alongside and died alongside. All right, I call the Salem witch hunts the murdering of the wise women of Israel. I'm trying to tell you something. I got to make that connection before we run off with that one, guys. But I'm starting to feel like it. When I look for a story of a large group of women wiped out in history, that's what I come up with. The Salem witch hunts, right? But we'll get to that on another day. Let's keep going and dealing with the chief warriors. I'm not going to read this whole article, guys, because it's getting late. My phone's jacked up. But I want to hit y'all where it really counts and make y'all focus on the fact that there were chiefs here. There were SARAs here. And we know that when they came with the dumb diverses, they came looking for the Saracens, right? You got a lot of people on YouTube that'll tell you that about that dumb diverses. So shout out to them. Thank you for pointing that out. We needed to know that. But what we didn't focus on is that they were looking for sons of Sarah, not Abraham's sons. They were not. They were looking for the chief's sons. All right. These men that were standing up for these women, these precious sons, because trust me, there were some here. There were men burnt at the so-called stake with the women, right? Of Salem, right? If we hear that story. But anyway, let's keep going because I don't want to talk about Salem today. I got to do some more research on that before we can say that that's factual, right? So let's keep going. The truth about the history of warfare is that women have always participated as warriors in defending their children, their families, their tribes, their nation. Because don't forget what Shamar told you. It's the woman that crowns you a part of your nation. If you wanted to be a part of Israel and this covenant, it came through SARA. And they definitely let us know that's true when they came to the shores to subdue all Saracens. They let us know it was true, didn't they? But the writers of his story, right, nearly always men, right, the scribes, you good old Uncle James, drunk uncle versions, throughout the ages have fallen abysmally short of giving women due credit for their part in warfare. This is certainly true for Native American warrior women. Today, research and scholarship, the uncovering of long hidden documents, all right, archaeology and diaries are revealing more and more that women fought bravely and fiercely for the loved ones and causes they believed in. This area of his story, not surprising, right, shows dramatically that history and the recording of history is a living, breathing thing. What we read in our elementary textbooks and viewed in Hollywood movies growing up cannot be taken as gospel. Here's something we never learned in history books or from Hollywood. Female Cheyenne and Arapaho warriors fought at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Custer's last stand with distinction. Cheyenne warrior Buffalo Calf Road woman fought many battles, and tribal lore passed down for 143 years credit her with killing General Custer. All right, they're going to tell you George Armstrong Custer. That's General Custer, guys. They still don't want to give the props where it's due. She killed a general. All right, this lady you never heard of, Buffalo Calf Road woman, and who's returning? The Buffalo Calf woman. Highlighted the wrong thing. All right. There's more to the story of Buffalo Calf Road woman as told by nationally respected Cheyenne elder peace chief, member of tribal government and National Historic Reserves Preservation. Representative of the Cheyenne and Arapaho Indians of of Oklahoma. And remember I told you guys Oklahoma means the red people, right? Oklahoma. That's guys, y'all know that that's a Hebrew word, all right? So y'all got to get into this. I mean, I live right here by the Chiricahua. So this is an interesting story. My land's right behind the Chiricahua, guys. It's telling me that there was a Chiricahua woman that fought beside Geronimo. You ain't never heard this stuff, guys. You ain't never heard about the women that were here, all right, fighting alongside these men, if not leading them. We got a story in the Torah where there's a woman that leads, and she tells the man, if I go out with you, then I'm going to have rulership too. And he says, please go out with me, because he recognizes, all right, he recognizes her as a chief. All right, he recognized that Saracens, that SARA was the chief. All right, and those archive documents that they're talking about, see who comes up? Israel, Saracen, right? Those what's the word? Those documents that come up. Look, the Crusades, right? Those documents that come up are going to tell you that how it went over here. That they were they came for these Saracens that were definitely derived from the word SARA, which you cannot have the word SARA without it relating to the word Israel. Okay, guys? I like the SARA rendition. Let's go back up to that one, because that one's going to show you exactly what we're talking about here. SARA, right? Sounds like Caesar. SARA, Ezer. It's all sounding alike to me, guys. And then we'll see that the word Israel, right? They're going to tell you that Israel is derived from the word SARA. So go on your own hunt, guys. Be digging. And all of this is going to lead you back to that chief, guys. And we most certainly had some native chiefs here, because that word became a representative of man, after that flip was made, guys. But you best believe a new thing is going to be done in the earth. All right, guys. So thank y'all for tuning in. Much love to you guys. And shout out to the few. Shout out to England. Shout out to some of my commenters like Eternal, Age of Goddess, Mimi, of course. Shout out to, everybody checking in and allowing Mama to guide you right here on this front line. And I know we got some guards out there, so I ain't worried at all. Much love to you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for pulling up to the cabin.